and I'm joined by my two colleagues here, Virginia Rivera and Caitlin Colombo, who will be presenting for today. Um, Feel free to put your questions in the comment. We'll keep an eye on that. We should have some time at the end of our presentation to go over any questions you may have. So without further ado, let's get started.
Emma, I would just like to say thank you to the financial aid team for conducting this webinar. I want to welcome all of the sophomores and second year students for joining us. We're going to ask you to observe just a couple of basic rules. One, you can keep your video and your audio off, please. So you don't need to be seen or as a participant or show up on the screen, nor do we want people kind of jumping in with questions. Please use the chat feature at the bottom of the Zoom link if you have questions for the financial aid team, and then they can answer those questions. This is being recorded, so if any of your friends say, oh, we missed it, we will find a way to get that up on a website so that they can join us. And now that I've done my part, I am going to turn it over to the financial aid team to continue with the presentation. And again, thank you all for participating today.
Yeah, so thank you, Heike, and thank you for everyone for joining us. My name is Caitlin Colombo. I'm one of the financial aid assistants here at Stony Brook University. So we'll get into about financial aid 101. So one thing to do is always start with the FAFSA. Fill out the FAFSA form by visiting studentaid.gov. The 25-26 FAFSA will become available on studentaid.gov starting in December.
Hi, and I'm Virginia Rivera, very proud to be representing the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarship Services today. So free help is available at any time during the application process. Our office is a great resource for students and their families. While we don't schedule appointments per se, we do offer walk-in lobby hours and phone and email, and Caitlin will go over our specific hours in an upcoming slide. If we're unable to assist, we suggest making use of the federal resources available, namely the FSA hotline as indicated on the screen. That's 1-800-4FED-AID. So what is financial need? Financial need is the difference between the cost of attendance at a given school and the student aid index as calculated by the FAFSA. The SAI is calculating using federal methodology, or as I recently heard one of the assistant directors here perhaps more aptly name it, annoying math. If you're interested in the formula, it is available online, and you could do what's referred to here as a hand calculation. The COA can vary greatly from school to school, but the SAI stays the same. That means that need can vary from institution to institution, and that can affect the awarding of such financial aid elements as a subsidized loan, because your cost of attendance can be much higher at another school, leading to a larger area of need.
So to go a little bit more in depth regarding cost of attendance, it's split between two subjects, the direct cost and your indirect costs. Your direct cost is what's going to be paid to the university, and those are the charges that are on your bill. Tuition and fees, if you dorm here, it would be your room and board, which is also your meal plan. Your indirect costs are things like transportation, books and supplies, miscellaneous personal expenses that are built into your budget, although they're not charged by the university. So you can receive aid to cover up to the cost of your attendance, although it may be more than your bill. So what is the Student Aid Index? For those who have already completed their FAFSA, you would see that you have an SAI, which is your Student Aid Index. So it's an eligibility index number that the Financial Aid Office uses to determine how much federal student aid the student would receive if the student attended the school. The number of results is from the information that the student provides in their FAFSA form. For a dependent student, it'd be coming from your parents' contribution. If you were an independent student, it would come from majority of the student contribution. This is calculated by the information that you report on your FAFSA form. So the SII is calculated according to a formula established by the law. Your family's tax or untaxed income, assets, and benefits, some untaxed income, are all considered in the formula. They also consider your family size. Some key points to know about your SAI is this number is not what you're expecting to pay for your education. This is the amount that is this is the amount that you're eligible for your index number for us to go based off of that to award you for your financial aid.
So, what is financial aid? There are several types of financial aid, and although they may function in different ways, they all serve to help cover the costs associated with securing an education at a post secondary level. There are two broad categories, as indicated on the slide. Self help aid is thusly called because, such as in the case of federal work study, the student puts out the work to receive the funding. The student collects the funds in the same way typical employment functions. Loans are labeled as self help because they must be repaid, typically with interest. Gift aid includes both scholarships and grants, and these are labeled as gifts because they typically do not require a payback. Grants can be awarded by the federal government, state government, schools, and private institutions. Scholarships can also be awarded by federal, state, and local governments, schools, churches, civic organizations, employment, private institutions. Scholarship eligibility is determined by the donor, and that eligibility can vary. For example, academic merit may be paramount to one particular donor, while participation on the school's rugby team may be what's important to another. So who gets federal student aid? Listed on the slide are the general criteria that make a student eligible to receive federal financial aid. There are many different immigration statuses and various circumstances that can make a student eligible to receive federal aid. Students can visit the website indicated on the screen to review what those are. For federal loans to be awarded, students will want to notice the 6-credit benchmark.
So how to accept or decline your financial aid. So this would be on your solar account. You would click on the financial aid link that's underneath Campus Financial Services. You'll click to view/accept and decline your financial aid and then select the aid year. You can review your award summary and scroll to the bottom to find accept decline awards. You may also want to review your grants, scholarships, and loans, their terms and conditions to make sure you're meeting the criteria so you're eligible for those awards. Some things to note out is that if you are thinking about using your loans, there's a term and condition regarding your loans that you have to be enrolled in at least 6 credits, which is part-time. And then on top of your loans, there's 2 checklists that we would be asking for a student to complete that we need on file for first-time borrowers. It would be your master promissory note and your entrance counseling. You would find that on your checklist, which is on the left-hand side on your home solar account. So to go a little bit more in depth regarding federal grants, there's the federal Pell Grant, which is usually awarded to undergrad students who display exceptional financial need and have not earned a bachelor's, graduate, or professional degree. The federal Pell Grant is unlike a loan, it does not have to be repaid. The years can vary amount each year. For the 24-25 award letter, you can receive up to $7,395. To go a little more in depth, there's then also the Federal Supplement Educational Opportunity Grant, which is the FCEOG. This is also for undergraduates with expectational financial need. The Pell Grant recipients take priority. This SEOG grant can be limited, so although you may be eligible for it, not all students will be able to be awarding this.
So, federal work study is what is referred to as institutional aid. The federal government basically gives institutions a limited pool of funds, and they ask that institution to divide it amongst their students. Stony Brook, to be equitable to students, gives primary consideration to those students that file for FAFSA prior to the priority deadline and have demonstrated the most need. Indicated on the slide is last year's priority deadline. From what I understand, years prior may have been February 15th, and it's likely that it may be moved to March 15th, but you'll want to keep your eyes on our website to see when that date will be. So federal loans, these are the type of loans that are direct to the student that are available. There's a subsidized loan. That's a need-based federal loan in which the government pays the interest on the loan while the student's enrolled in school and at a half-time and above status. There's a non-need-based loan, the unsubsidized loan. I've heard it said that if Elon Musk had his children enrolled in school and they filled out the FAFSA, that they would be eligible for an unsubsidized loan. A lot of a lot of times we get questions here in the financial aid department from students saying, "I accepted a loan. Why do I have a balance?" And the answer is that there is an aggregate cap on each of these loans, and they are commensurate with both the grade level of the student and the dependency level of the student. So if you look at the screen, that's indicated all freshmen dependent students receive $5,500 in federal loans, sophomores is $6,500, junior and seniors is $7,500. Well, whether the breakdown of those loans are on sub or sub, that would depend on the need that we went over earlier.
So to go in a little bit in depth regarding repayment. So when you do your entrance counseling and your sign NVN for either the direct subsidized or the unsubsidized loan, it's basically stating that you understand that this is you have to repay your loan. While you're in school, you're in school deferment. Once you leave school, graduate, fall below part-time, you'll be then put into your 6 months grace period. Through that 6 months grace period, you're not required to make payments. After your 6 months grace period is up, your student loan servicer will then be in contact with you regarding your repayment amount as well as your monthly bills. On the right hand side, we have some different repayment methods. If you would like to review them, if you're interested, you can also then change your repayment plan. Although you're not required to make any payments, you can also do principal payments. You'll have to go on to studentaid.gov, go to the top to where your managed loans are to find your student loan servicer. If you wanted to do principal payments, you'll have to see what their policies are on putting a principal payment in. So as Virginia mentioned before that the federal loans that you may accept and that you still have a bill. This is something that we call as filling the gap. So there's alternative ways that you can also cover your remaining bill. We have a Federal Parent Plus loan, which is the amount determined by the remaining cost of attendance. Its credit check is required for this loan, and it must be applied to assist the student from a parent to assist the student's expenses. So for this one, it's a Parent Plus loan. The student um, could be eligible to then do a private student loan if they didn't want to go down, if their parent didn't want to go down the Parent Plus loan route. The private student loans, those are on our website. We do have a loan lender list. Those can be varied. It could be a bank, there's different lenders. When you're applying for a private loan, which are available for additional funding, it is encouraged for students to explore all 8 options available to them. You'll have the freedom to select your lender, and then the application process is handled directly with the lender you choose. As here's our website right here, stonybrook.edu/finaid, regarding how you can find a lender. You may also want to keep it in mind that if you're looking for a private educational loan lender, making sure on the side that you're going through your filtrations. So if you're not meeting SAP, you may want to find a lender that works with students who are not currently meeting SAP. Or if you're below part-time and you're only enrolled in 3 credits, you're not eligible for your federal loans, but you could be eligible for a private educational loan, which you can then go on and put in that you're not meeting that part-time status and see what lenders would also work with you as well.
So making payments, the bursar's office makes it exceedingly simple to make payments, as my college-age son would say, ain't that just the way? It's always easy to make payments. The bursar accepts cash, check, money order, or major credit cards. Students can make their payments directly on Solar. So the time option payment plan is what's referred to as a semester-based program. It requires a $50 enrollment fee. And while there are no interest or finance charges apart from that $50 fee, you would have to make your portion of the payment at the time of enrollment. So if you sign up for the free payment option, a third of the balance would be due at that point. If you sign up for the 4 payment option, a fourth of the balance would be due at the time of enrollment. And you'd complete your enrollment of the top program through Solar under campus financial services. So SBU Merit Awards, Stony Brook has a policy of reviewing all incoming freshmen's academic records for the possible awarding of merit-based scholarships. These awards come with renewal terms and conditions, and you will want to review those carefully because compliance is reviewed on an annual basis, and non-compliance will result in the non-renewal of the award. The most common terms are to maintain full-time enrollment status as a matriculated undergraduate student, maintain a cumulative GPA of a 3.0. It's subject to cancellation cancellation if you don't remain in the academic program or plan you were admitted into. There can be no gaps in enrollment, and you'd also have to maintain the university's academic integrity standards. If your scholarship is not renewed, an appeal form will be assigned to you via Solar on your to-do list.
So Stony Brook University has something called Scholarship Universe, which is an internal platform that Stony Brook uses for additional scholarships. There's a QR code here will bring you to the website. You'll want to sign in using your net ID number as well as your Stony Brook email. You'll have the option to answer a few former questions. The more questions you answer, the more scholarships will be matched to your account. You can then apply to scholarships on Scholarship Universe. There's internal ones, as well as if there's a globe next to it, those are also external ones. If you had any further questions regarding Scholarship Universe, or if you had a question regarding a scholarship that's on there, you can always reach out to us and we'll be able to further assist as well. So as Virginia stated previously, if you were to lose your scholarship, what would you do? So scholarships are reviewed annually for renewal after spring grades are posted. If a student's academic record indicates that the student is not in compliance with the terms and conditions of their award, the award is not renewed, and the is notified directly regarding the appeal process. For the pension for reinstatement, students have the option for the appeal of their loss of their scholarship. We strongly encourage students to wait until they have restored their academic record to the required minimum for the scholarship eligibility prior to submitting an appeal. So if you were to lose your scholarship for not having, say, a 3.0 GPA, we would advise you to wait until your GPA is back to a 3.0 before you do your appeal process.
So 3 different documents are typically required to be submitted to have your appeal considered: a signed with a physical signature appeal form, a formal letter written by the student explaining the circumstances that led to the not adhering to the terms and conditions of the award, and any relevant third-party documentation. And as the screen lists, relevant third-party documentation could be a doctor's note, unfortunately, a death certificate, a letter from a counselor or an advisor, perhaps a counselor at CAPS or an EOP advisor. All of those could be applicable. So in addition to a scholarship appeal, a loss of a scholarship, students can also unfortunately lose their federal aid. One of the criteria to maintain federal aid is satisfactory academic progress. SAP, as we like to call it in the financial aid department, because we love our acronym. So SAP has 3 different benchmarks that must be met to receive federal aid. Your GPA must be a 2.0 and above, a PACE of 67%. A PACE is calculated based on credits earned versus credits attempted. So if I attempted 10 credits, I was enrolled in 10 credits and I only earned 5 and I failed 5 of those credits, I'd have a 50% PACE and I'd be failing one of the elements of SAP. And a student also may not exceed the maximum time frame for degree completion. So students are no longer eligible to receive federal financial aid once they have attempted 150% of the credits required to complete their degree. For most bachelor's degrees, we require 120 credits. So a student cannot attempt more than 180 credits. Our department runs a query on students' academic records on a semester to semester basis. If in a given semester a student is found to not be meeting SAP criteria, they will receive 1 warning semester in which they can still receive federal aid. If, however, when the query is run again and the student's SAP status will move to not meet. So you do get a warning period. And then if you go through your warning period and you're still not meet and your federal aid is held, there is also an appeal process for that, and it would be posted to your Solar to-do list.
For students to continue receiving their New York State aid awards, they also must be continued to meet the state satisfactory academic process guidelines, which is SAP, which is Virginia, what previously just stated. Now to go in depth in regarding New York State aid. So the TAP application, the tuition assistance program, you would have to apply on HESC.ny.gov. You'd have to be a New York State resident. You have to have your FAFSA completed already on file. The award range can vary, and then HES will notify students via email when express applications is available to complete. So for the TAP application, because it's a tuition assistance program, it can only go to the cost of tuition. So it can go up to the cost of tuition. So the awards may vary. The HESC is the ones who notify students what they will be awarded, and they determine their award amount.
So in addition to the rules for remaining federal SAP, you'll want to be aware of the guidelines for staying academically eligible for TAP. You want to make sure that generally a very general piece of advice is to file your TAP application on a yearly basis. That's very important and very easy to do and apparently easy to forget. So you definitely want to make sure that you file for TAP. You want to limit your GPNC designations and withdrawals because W's, P's, and NC's do not count toward earned credits. And TAP looks backwards. Certification for TAP looks backwards, and you have to be earning a certain amount of credits. You must declare a major by the time you earn 57 credits. So by the time you reach junior status, you must declare a major to stay academically eligible to receive TAP. Your TAP certification summary is found under records and enrollment on Solar. And we're going to see that on the next slide. Okay, so here's an example of the TAP certification summary page. It begins with very high level eligibility criteria and then continues with students specific academic eligibility. Below, but not shown on the slide, would be a list of students' current classes and how they are or are not considered degree applicable. Be advised that changes to course enrollment can take between 24 to 48 hours to populate on this screen.
So to review the Excelsior Scholarship, you would also apply on the same website as TAP. For the Excelsior, you must have already completed your FAFSA and your TAP application. So Excelsior is a one-time application. Once you've done it, then you no longer have to do it. Meanwhile, the FAFSA and the TAP application, you have to do each academic year. The program currently covers tuition for eligible SUNY and CUNY students. For the 24-25 academic year, families who earn 125,000 or less in the tax year 2022 are eligible to apply. Since Excelsior is a last dollar award and the 5,500 amount will be reduced by other grants or scholarship assistance received, even if those grants and scholarships are not earmarked to pay tuition only. So the Excelsior scholarship is currently already closed for fall 24. So if you haven't applied for Excelsior, we highly suggest going onto your HESC. If you go look up the Excelsior scholarship, there's a box there that you're able to put your email in. If you were to hit, then it's a reminder. So when HESC opens up their spring, they'll be sending out notifications to all those students who put their emails in stating that Excelsior for spring, the application is open. So staying academically eligible for Excelsior, it belongs on this similar to the same tracks of TAP of being enrolled full-time in at least 12 degree applicable credits. You also want to stay on track by earning at least 30 credits per year. AP and college credits can be used to meet the criteria. We'll go a little bit more in depth on the next slide regarding the Excelsior summary page. And there's also a continuous enrollment. So you can't take a semester or a year off to still be eligible for Excelsior.
Okay, and here is an example of the Excelsior summary page, which is also available on Solar under Records and Enrollment. Similarly to the TAP certification summary page, course enrollment and how courses are considered degree applicable is broken down here. Additionally, indicated on the bottom of the screen is a running tally of the credits earned, so students can keep themselves aware of where they're at. And any credits, I believe, within 365 days are eligible for that year. So that 30 credit requirement, you can earn credits in winter and summer. Something to keep in mind. So things to know about the Excelsior Scholarship. You want to make sure that you read the fine print on your contract and that you apply for New York State on an annual basis. You want to take specific note of if you move out of New York State before you complete your residency requirement, all or part of your award will be converted to a no interest loan. If you are decertified for a break in attendance or for falling off track, you will not be eligible for the program from that point forward. And again, to reiterate what Caitlin had already expressed in the previous slide, it is a last dollar award. We do have students and their families calling saying, I have Excelsior, it's supposed to cover my tuition charges, but it's only that direct tuition charge, and it is replaced by other grants.
So who should you contact? There's the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarship Services, which this is our office that we're currently presenting. There's also then Student Financial Services. So for our office, we help with Scholarship Universe, Merit Scholarships, the FAFSA loans, New York State aid. Meanwhile, Student Financial Services is for your external scholarships, billing and payments, in-state versus out-of-state tuition. If you were to be receiving a refund, if you have past due balances and going to be sent to collections, and as previously mentioned, TOP, which is the time option payment plan. If you were to email us, we'll send you the correct email for you to get your answer to, but it's definitely something to keep in mind instead of having to delay your response to your email by sending it to the wrong office. Um, so this is definitely something that could be helpful. And then if anyone has any questions, this is our lobby hours. This should be actually updated. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're open until 5 o'clock now, not 4 o'clock. And on Tuesdays, we're 8:30 to 3:30. We're located in Stony Brook Union, Suite 208, and our phone number is 631-632-6840. Our phones are open from 10 to 3. There's also a QR code that will bring you to our website. So if anyone wanted to put their questions in the chat, we'll be able to answer for a live Q&A.
In our chat, we have a question regarding international students. Now, with international students, they unfortunately are not eligible for federal or state aid. As far as scholarships, they would definitely want to log on to Scholarship Universe to see if there's any matching scholarships to them. They also have the option to review information regarding private loan resources to help with their payment as well. But Scholarship Universe is a helpful resource for all students, especially international. As far as record of the recording, I believe Hank is going to be posting that for everyone to have access to. As far as information contained in the slides, our website for the financial aid office is a super helpful resource. Everything regarding today's presentation is actually available to review on our website as well. Any other questions for today? Awesome. Thank you all for joining us. I would definitely encourage all of you to log on to Scholarship Universe to see if there's some opportunities for you there. As always, our office is always around to help if anyone has any further questions. But thank you so much for coming to today's presentation. Everyone have a great day.
Again, I'd like to say thank you to the financial aid staff for giving us this wonderful presentation and answering the question about the recording or the slides. They will be available, and we will send out a notice to not only the participants in today's meeting, but also those who may have signed up and were not able to attend, and the broader sophomore class as a whole. So that ends our presentation today. Again, thank you to the financial aid staff for putting this together and all the hard work that they do. And please, for those people who did attend today, let them know this is just one of a series of webinars we're going to be holding to help students find out the resources that are available to them. So if there are any questions, feel free to get in touch with financial aid or stop by the Student Life office, and the PLUS team will be glad to help you. Everybody, thank you for joining us today, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay.